Hi everyone, happy December 1st. My name is Nikki, I'm the communications director here, and we are so excited about Advent. I couldn't help but jump on here and start our Advent social series a little bit early. We know Advent doesn't officially start until Sunday, but we're pumped, we're ready, so we're going today. This year on all of our social media platforms, we're going to be providing these videos for families to talk about how to celebrate, how to talk about Christmas with your kids, whether they're little, whether they're teenagers, somewhere in between. Some of these things you'll even be able to implement with adult children. So we are really excited to jump in to talk about Advent and just some of the things you can do. You know, Christmas has so many narratives around it, right? You've got Santa, you've got Elf on the Shelf, then you've got like the Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation movies that talk about relatives and how bad relatives are, right? We've got this narrative that says you have to spend a lot to have a really magical Christmas. You have to buy the latest gadgets. We have a whole day, Black Friday, set aside for shopping, right? So there's all these narratives, the picture perfect Christmas card, an Insta-worthy activity or thing that you have to do with your family. But the reality is that's not what Christmas is about, right? Christmas is about Jesus coming to earth in human form, coming to abide with us, to be Emmanuel, God with us. It's about God humbling himself to become like us, to understand us in a unique and intimate and personal way. And so that's what we want to focus on this Christmas. How can we teach our kids those things, especially when they're hearing all of these other competing narratives? Well, the Bible has some really, really great advice on how to teach our children. And this is in Deuteronomy 6. It's not your typical Christmas passage, and I'm totally aware of that. But this is a how do we connect what we believe with our children passage. And this is actually coming from Moses to the Israelites. It's kind of his last teaching to them before he dies, before they go into the promised land. And this is what he says. It says, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourself wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you are at home and when you are on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands, wear them on your foreheads as reminders, write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates. Man, that is so practical. Just talk about Jesus. Talk about him whenever you're going around, whatever you're doing. Talk about it today and tomorrow, in the morning and in the evening. And I think if this passage was rewritten by a mom, it would sound something like this. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul and your strength. Love the Lord your God more than your coffee or your wine or your quiet time or whatever it is you moms, myself included, do. Commit yourself to my commands. Commit yourself to my commands more than you commit yourself to making a perfect holiday, more than you commit yourselves to making everything Insta-worthy for your kids. Commit yourself to my commands more than you commit yourself to your phones and all those other things that distract us, right? And then it says, repeat these commands again and again. And if you have toddlers, that would read again and again and again and again, right? Talk about them when you're at home, when you're making dinner, when you're doing chores, when you're playing games. Talk about them in the van on the way to dance or taekwondo or whatever it is you do, baseball, basketball, hockey, all the things. Talk about them all of the time. Talk about them when you're in the drive-thru at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A. Talk about them even when people are past their bedtime. Talk about them when you wake up in the mornings. And I love how simple that is. Just talk about Jesus. And some of you I know are going, well, I don't feel equipped to talk about Jesus. I don't feel like I know what to say. Well, guess what? This is your cheat code. All of the things that you need to tell your kids are right in here. Start with the gospel. Start with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Start with the different accounts of Jesus's birth. This is a great time to talk about those things. But if you're like me, you want some really practical tips and advice. Like, okay, what does this look like in reality? What are some things that we can do? If we had a Pinterest board for teach my kids about Jesus during Christmas, what kinds of things would be on that Pinterest board? So that's what we're going to do over the next several weeks. Some of us are going to jump on here and talk about ways that you can connect with your family, that you can do simple ideas, inexpensive ideas that you guys can do together that can ignite conversation about Jesus and about Christmas. So what I want to talk about, what activities I want to share with you is actually a tradition that I had growing up as a kid. And I'll pull it out. It's it's falling apart because I've had it for 30 plus years. But it's an Advent puzzle. And you can see each of these is a puzzle piece. And it has a corresponding puzzle here with all the numbers. And every day you pop out whatever day it is and you replace it with that title for that day. So that's the 9th, right? This is so simple. Now, I have searched high and low online for a duplicate of this puzzle. My mom bought it at Tuesday morning many years ago, and I haven't been able to find one. But there are other puzzles available. In fact, my mom recently purchased one for my boys. It looks like this. It's also an Advent puzzle. It opens up here like this, and there is a piece each day in these doors on this side, and then you fill in the puzzle below. This puzzle is actually available at Mardel, so you can go and get this there if you would like. Now, I was at Mardel this morning and they only had a couple left, but you can also find it online. It's called Happy Birthday Jesus, a Family Advent Calendar. But each day you get to pop out a piece, whether you have this puzzle or whether you have an old one like mine there. You pop out a piece and you put it in its spot. And you can just talk about either that character or something about what Jesus means represented by that puzzle. Now, I'm really excited because I'm starting a new tradition with my boys this year. It's something I learned about a couple years ago, and I finally decided we were going to do it this year. This is called a Jesse Tree. It's a family Advent experience. This is available on Amazon or Etsy. There are several versions of this. There are more expensive versions, and there are printable versions so that you can print this out and do it on your own. But what this is, and I haven't even really opened this yet, so you guys are getting a sneak peek. It is a daily ornament that you put on your tree, and each ornament is associated with a story. And these stories are stories from creation, the genealogy of Jesus, Bible stories that all point back to why Jesus had to come. So you can see here, there is just a brief snippet to read with your kids, some Bible verses that are associated with it, and then a matching ornament that you put on your tree, a little bit every day. What I love about all three of these things, the two puzzles and the Jesse Advent, or Jesse Tree, is that they only take 2 minutes, 3 minutes. These are not tools that take all day. These are every day of the month tools, so you do have to commit a little bit of your day every day, but it's a very small amount. But these are tools that lead to conversations about Jesus, about God's plan for salvation from creation to when Jesus came. And they're great opportunities, especially for younger kids, to connect and say, you know, it's easy for a toddler to put a puzzle piece into a puzzle, right? It's easy to hang an ornament on a tree. So it's a great way just to connect. And the puzzle that's available at Mardel and the Jesse Tree ornaments actually come with content already created associated with each day. So you don't have to be the one to do the teaching. It's provided for you. You see, the thing that we want you to hear, and the thing that we think is really important as you are going about your day, as you're talking about Jesus on the road and at home, is that it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be Insta-worthy. It doesn't have to be this huge event. It can be simple, but it has to be intentional. You know, I have great memories as a kid of doing that puzzle with my mom and my dad and sitting down, and we didn't talk about great theological things every time, but we did talk about Jesus with each of those puzzle pieces. All right, so tune back in over the next couple of weeks because we are going to be sharing some fun ideas. If you have kids, make sure you are following the Grace Point Fort page, Nest page, Hollow page, depending on what age your kid is, the Loop page, because there will be even more ideas and activities available there. On our main page here, we're going to be just hopping on about once a week. But we are so excited to bring you these ideas and just talk a little bit about Jesus every day during Advent this season. All right, we'll see you next week.